You've been told the story since childhood, the Big Bang, a blinding explosion of energy, a universe born from nothing, and then, slowly, beautifully, galaxies, stars, and planets unfolding from chaos. It sounds complete, doesn't it? A beginning to everything. But here's the question that keeps scientists, philosophers, and dreamers awake at night. If the Big Bang started it all, what existed before it? Your mind might want to shut down the thought immediately, like looking too long into the sun, because the very language you're using before existed time itself, those words might not even apply. But still, you can't resist. You're human. You crave beginnings. You demand a story that starts somewhere. So let's step back, not just millions of years, not just billions. Further, beyond galaxies, beyond atoms, beyond the first burst of light. Imagine you're standing on the edge of time itself, staring into the abyss that supposedly came before the bang. What do you see? Is it darkness, a void, or something even stranger? The truth is, science doesn't give you one simple answer. It gives you possibilities, each more dizzying than the last. And tucked inside those possibilities are shocks, contradictions, and maybe even a hint of something eternal. But here's the twist. Maybe the very idea of a before is wrong. Maybe there was no before. Maybe time was born with the Big Bang, and to ask what happened earlier is like asking what's north of the North Pole. Yet your imagination resists. You can't help but wonder, how could everything, space, time, matter, energy, suddenly erupt out of nothing? Nothing isn't supposed to do anything. And yet here you are, alive, listening to this, a direct descendant of that impossible moment. Now let's myth bust something you've probably heard your whole life. The Big Bang wasn't really a bang. There was no fiery ball exploding into empty space. Instead, space itself expanded. Time itself stretched. The universe wasn't born in a corner of emptiness. It was the birth of emptiness. That subtle shift changes everything. You don't imagine an explosion in the dark. You imagine the fabric of existence inflating like a balloon, carrying galaxies inside it. Still, the question lingers. If the balloon inflated, what was outside it? What was the air around it? Surely something must have been there, waiting. Otherwise, where did this energy come from? And here's where science edges into philosophy, and philosophy edges into something deeply emotional. Because to admit you don't know is both humbling and terrifying. You want closure, you want a neat answer, but instead you're handed mysteries that pull at your very sense of reality. Some scientists suggest that before our universe there was another one, and before that another and another, an endless cycle of births and deaths like a cosmic heartbeat. Others suggest that universes bubble up constantly, each one with its own laws of physics, each one sealed off from the others. If that's true, you are living inside just one bubble in an infinite cosmic foam. And what came before your bubble? Maybe another bubble, maybe none at all. But pause for a second. Imagine you could actually see that pre-Big Bang state. What would it look like? Could your eyes even comprehend it? Or would it be like staring into pure mathematics, raw equations vibrating in a sea of probability? Some physicists think that before the bang, the universe was compressed into a single, infinitely dense point, a singularity, no space, no time, just everything crushed together in a way your mind can't visualize. And then, suddenly, release, expansion, a cosmic unfolding. That's the official story most people hear. But there's a problem. Singularities are mathematical nightmares. They're signs that our equations break down. Maybe the singularity isn't real. Maybe it's just a placeholder for something deeper that we don't yet understand. And that's where you come in. Because when you ask what existed before the Big Bang, you're not just asking a scientific question. You're asking something primal, something that ties into your own need for meaning. You want to know where you came from. You want to know if there was ever a true beginning, or if beginnings are just illusions stitched together by your storytelling brain. Now let's add a shocking twist. What if the universe didn't begin at all? What if it always existed in one form or another? The Big Bang wouldn't be the start. It would be just one transformation in an eternal cycle. For thousands of years, ancient cultures, from Hindu cosmology to Greek philosophy, imagined a cosmos that dies and is reborn endlessly. And now, with modern theories of bouncing universes and quantum fluctuations, science circles back to an idea that is as old as myth. It makes you wonder, are we uncovering the truth with telescopes and equations? Or are we simply rediscovering what humans have intuited for millennia, that nothing ever truly begins and nothing ever truly ends? But here's the engagement trigger. As you listen, I want you to think about this personally, not as a distant scientific puzzle, but as a reflection of your own life. If the universe itself may not have had a beginning, what does that say about you? About existence itself? About death? About eternity? Because the more you chase the question, the more it turns inward. The Big Bang isn't just a cosmic event, it's a mirror, a reminder that everything you are is connected to something larger, something older than time. So let's take this journey together. Across 15 sections, we'll walk through the greatest ideas ever proposed about the ultimate question: what came before the beginning? Along the way, you'll encounter theories that challenge everything you thought you knew, stories that bend your sense of time, and possibilities that leave you breathless. And maybe, just maybe, by the end, you'll find not an answer, but something better. A way of seeing the universe and yourself that is infinitely larger than the question itself. Imagine pressing pause on the universe. Everything stops. Galaxies freeze in place. Stars no longer burn. Your own heartbeat hangs suspended. Now rewind, not seconds or years, but billions of years back. You shrink past the Milky Way, past infant galaxies, past the first stars flickering into existence, past the cosmic microwave background that glows faintly like an afterimage of creation. Keep rewinding until you reach the point of ultimate compression, the Big Bang. Here's the paradox. You're not just traveling back in space, you're traveling back in time. But eventually, you hit a wall, a place where time itself breaks down. And when you hit that wall, there is no before to step into because time hasn't been born yet. That's the first shocking truth. The Big Bang didn't just create space, it created time. The two are intertwined like threads of a single fabric. Before that moment, there was no clock ticking, no yesterday, no before. Asking what came before is like asking what lies outside of space itself. The very words lose meaning. But your mind rebels, doesn't it? You want to picture something. You imagine a vast black void, silent and empty. That seems logical, but a void is still a kind of something. It has size, shape, potential. True nothingness, in the strictest sense, is impossible to imagine. Your brain simply isn't built for it. And yet, that's where science tells you the trail ends. So here's the myth bust. The Big Bang wasn't an explosion in time. It was the birth of time. This means there was no cosmic fuse waiting to be lit, no stage curtain waiting to rise. Time itself was part of the act. Let's bring in Einstein. His theory of relativity told us that space and time are not separate things. They are woven together into what we call space-time. When you bend space with gravity, you bend time as well. And if space had a beginning, so did time. That single insight flips your whole perspective. The universe doesn't just live in time. The universe is time. Without the cosmos, time doesn't tick. But wait, if time began at the Big Bang, how did the bang itself happen? Doesn't every event need a before? This is where you feel the ground shifting under your feet. Because maybe the rules you use for everyday life, causes and effects before and after, stop working at the ultimate scale. The Big Bang may not have needed a cause in the way you imagine. It may simply be. That idea is both terrifying and strangely liberating. Because if the universe didn't need a reason to begin, maybe existence itself is reason enough. Still, not everyone is satisfied with this. Some scientists argue that the Big Bang didn't mark the absolute beginning. Instead, it was just the beginning of our timeline, the start of this particular branch of the cosmic story. In that view, time could stretch endlessly in directions we can't see, like a book whose first chapter was torn away. Here's an analogy. Imagine standing at the edge of a glacier. You see the ice stretching before you, smooth and endless. To you, that's the beginning. But beneath the ice are layers of snow, packed over centuries, hidden from sight. The Big Bang might be the surface, the visible start, while the true history is buried deep beneath. Some theories go even further. In quantum cosmology, time before the Big Bang could have behaved differently, perhaps looping, perhaps fuzzy, perhaps meaningless in the way you define it now. Stephen Hawking once proposed that time might have been imaginary near the beginning, curving in such a way that asking what happened before is like asking what's north of the North Pole. There simply is no north. Think about that. A universe without a before. It bends your sense of reality until it almost snaps, yet it fits the mathematics. But let's not forget something important. Humans are natural storytellers. You crave beginnings because your own life has one. You were born, you groomed, and one day you will die. That linear arc feels like the template for all existence. But maybe it isn't. Maybe the universe doesn't follow the same script you do. Here's the emotional twist. If time was born at the Big Bang, then the universe itself doesn't have a past in the way you think. It only has a history from that moment forward, which means that in a strange sense, the universe is forever young, always as old as its first second, because there was nothing before to compare it against. And what about you? If your very sense of past and future is tied to the universe's fabric, then your life is a ripple in time's flow, a temporary arrangement of atoms that only makes sense because time exists. Without the Big Bang, you wouldn't just lack a body, you'd lack a before and after, a self, a memory, a future. Everything you are depends on that instant when time began ticking. But here's where the engagement trigger kicks in. Ask yourself, is it more unsettling to think that time had a beginning or to think that it might not have one at all? Which is harder to accept, a cosmos that sprang into being out of nothing or one that stretches forever with no true start and no ultimate end? That's the haunting beauty of this question. Every answer is unsettling. Every path leads you somewhere your intuition doesn't want to go, and yet you can't stop walking down it. So as you sit here in this brief slice of cosmic history, remember this: time is not a given. Time is a gift. Without it, nothing moves, nothing changes, nothing becomes. And whether it began in an instant or has always been, you are riding its flow. Close your eyes and try to imagine nothing. Not an empty room, not a dark void, not even a stretch of black space without stars. Strip away everything: light, matter, space, even time. Now try again. What do you see? You can't do it. Your brain refuses. The moment you think of nothing, you picture something: darkness, emptiness, a blank canvas. But all of those are still something. The truth is, your mind wasn't designed to grasp true nothingness. For you, the absence of things is still a thing. And yet, people often say the Big Bang came from nothing. But that phrase is slippery. What does nothing really mean? Absolute non-existence? A vacuum? A state beyond physics? Science doesn't treat these as the same. To a physicist, nothing can mean a vacuum of space. But even a vacuum isn't empty. It bubbles with energy, fluctuations, and possibilities. At the quantum level, so-called empty space is more like a restless ocean than a still pond. So here's the myth bust. When you hear the universe came from nothing, it doesn't mean from a blank void. It means from a state where the usual rules didn't apply. It means from a foundation stranger than emptiness. Imagine this: before the Big Bang, there was no space to expand into. But quantum physics suggests that even in the absence of particles, energy still flickers in and out of existence. These fluctuations aren't predictable in the way you expect. They are random, spontaneous, chaotic. And some scientists think that one such fluctuation, tiny, invisible, unimaginable, could have sparked the expansion that became our universe. Does that sound like nothing to you? Or does it sound like a hidden kind of something? The philosopher's nothing. The absolute absence of being may not even exist. Maybe it can't. Maybe nothing is just a human word, a placeholder for what you can't imagine. Because in the universe, wherever you look, there is always something. Think of the night sky. To the naked eye, there are gaps between the stars, black patches. You'd call that nothing. But turn a telescope on those gaps and galaxies appear, billions of them. What looked empty was filled with unimaginable richness. Zoom in further, past the galaxies, into the blackness between their stars. Again, you think it's empty. But scientists find invisible fields, radiation, particles too tiny to see. Go deeper still, and quantum mechanics tells you even empty space teems with uncertainty, potential, raw energy. At every level, your intuition betrays you. Nothingness turns into somethingness. The void is an illusion. Here's an emotional twist. The same is true in your own life. Times when you feel like you're doing nothing, like your life is stalled or empty. Beneath the surface, things are happening. Neurons are firing, cells are repairing, ideas are forming. Growth is invisible until suddenly it isn't. In that way, you are a mirror of the cosmos. What looks like nothing is just unseen potential waiting to erupt. But let's not forget how unsettling this is. If nothingness doesn't exist, then the idea of creation out of nothing collapses. The Big Bang may not have been creation from a void, but transformation of a hidden state we don't yet understand. This brings us to a shocking possibility. Maybe the universe has always existed in some form, even if not in the form you see today. Maybe nothing is just the wrong question, and the cosmos has never truly been absent. Now pause. Imagine standing at the edge of the pre-Big Bang state. There's no space around you, no time flowing forward. But instead of black nothingness, there's a restless quantum sea, seething with energy. You can't see it, you can't touch it, but it's alive with possibility. And in that sea, a fluctuation stirs, tiny but unstoppable, inflating into the reality you know. That is one way scientists explain the Big Bang, not as an explosion from nothing, but as a blossoming from hidden potential. But wait. That raises another haunting question. Where did that hidden potential come from? Why should there be quantum energy at all? Why not true nothingness? This is where science and philosophy collide. Physics can describe the unfolding of the universe from fractions of a second after the Big Bang. But when you ask why there was something instead of nothing, you cross into territory that equations alone may never answer. Some physicists argue that why is the wrong question. The universe simply is. Others believe that one day a deeper theory may reveal that nothing is unstable, that existence is more natural than non-existence. Think about that. Existence might be inevitable. Reality itself may be the default. There's something profoundly emotional in that idea. If the universe exists because it must, then your own life is part of an inevitability. Not an accident, not a fluke, but an expression of the fact that non-existence simply doesn't hold. So here's the engagement trigger for you. Which idea feels more shocking? That everything came from true nothing, or that true nothing can't exist and there was always something? Which possibility stirs your imagination more? Whichever side you lean toward, both paths lead you to the same awe-inspiring conclusion. The universe is not ordinary. It's not casual. It's astonishing in its very being. And here's a final twist. In many ancient traditions, nothingness wasn't seen as empty at all. In Hindu philosophy, the void was pregnant with potential. In Taoist thought, the emptiness was a womb from which all things arise. Thousands of years before quantum physics, humans already suspected that what looks like nothing is really the seed of everything. So maybe the illusion of nothingness is as old as human thought. And maybe now, with modern science, you're circling back to the same conclusion. There was never truly nothing. In the next section, we'll dive into one of the boldest ideas in modern cosmology, that our universe may not be the only one. The Big Bang might not have created everything. It might have created just our bubble in a much larger multiverse. Are you ready to step into the possibility that what you call everything might only be a tiny fragment of reality? You probably see stars, galaxies, maybe the glowing filaments of the cosmic web. That's the universe, right? All that exists. Every atom, every planet, every possibility. But what if I told you that this picture, this grand total of everything, is still too small? What if your universe is just one bubble, floating in a frothing sea of countless others? This is the shocking suggestion of the multiverse hypothesis, that the Big Bang didn't give birth to the universe, but simply our universe, one region of reality with its own physics, its own story, sealed off from an endless number of parallel realms. It sounds like science fiction. Infinite worlds, infinite versions of reality, some familiar, some unrecognizably strange. But the idea didn't spring from fantasy. It came from trying to answer the same question you're asking now. What came before the Big Bang? Let's start with inflation. According to modern cosmology, right after the bang, the universe expanded at a speed faster than light. Not just quickly, unimaginably, exponentially, explosively. That's how it became so large, so uniform, like so filled with galaxies. But here's the catch. Some models suggest that this inflation doesn't stop. While it ended in our region, giving rise to the stars and planets you see, it may still be happening elsewhere. Like bubbles forming in boiling water, new universes may constantly bud off, each one with its own beginning, its own space, its own timeline. That's eternal inflation, and it leads directly to the multiverse. So here's the myth bust. The Big Bang may not have been the beginning. It may have been a beginning, one of countless others. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast cosmic foam. Each bubble is a universe, expanding, colliding, drifting. Some might be lifeless, with physical laws too hostile for stars to form. Others might sparkle with alien galaxies, different chemistry, strange forms of life. And ours, our little bubble, is just one among them. Here's the emotional twist. If this is true, then your entire life, your whole history, your planet, your species, is contained in a universe that is not unique. You're not in the only story. You're in one story among endless others. That can feel humbling, even destabilizing, but it can also feel liberating because it means reality is bigger than you ever dared imagine. But hold on. If other universes exist, why can't you see them? Why can't you measure them? The truth is, you probably never will. They're beyond your cosmic horizon, cut off by the very laws of physics. Light from those universes could never reach you. To you, they remain invisible, unknowable, untouchable, and yet the math points toward them. The logic suggests them. Think of it like this. You're a goldfish in a bowl, swimming in circles, thinking the glass walls are the edge of everything. But beyond the bowl lies an entire room. Beyond the room, an entire house. Beyond the house, a vast world. The multiverse is that larger reality, hidden from view, but real nonetheless. Now, let's add a shocking twist. Some scientists suggest that every possible version of reality exists somewhere in the multiverse, not just alien universes with different physics, but universes where different choices were made. A universe where Earth never formed, a universe where dinosaurs still roam, a universe where you were never born, and another where you are living a different life right now. It sounds wild, but quantum physics leaves room for it. Every time a particle can take multiple paths, every time there's uncertainty, some interpretations say the universe branches. One possibility here, another there. And those branches don't vanish, they become their own realities. So here's the engagement trigger for you. If there really are infinite universes, which version of you would you most want to meet? And would that encounter feel like meeting a stranger or yourself? Now, skeptics push back. They argue the multiverse can't be tested, can't be observed, and therefore doesn't belong in science. After all, what good is a theory if you can't prove it? That's fair. But here's the counter-argument. Even if you can't see other universes directly, their existence could explain mysteries about your own. For example, why does our universe seem so perfectly tuned for life? Why are the laws of physics balanced on a knife's edge, allowing galaxies, stars, and DNA to exist at all? If there's only one universe, the odds of such fine tuning are almost impossible. But if there are countless universes, each with different rules, then it's not surprising that one of them, ours, just happens to have the right recipe for life. You're here not because the odds are miraculous, but because in the multiverse lottery, only universes with the right conditions have observers to ask the question. That's the anthropic principle. And it changes everything. Here's the emotional pull. The multiverse makes you both insignificant and extraordinary. Insignificant because your universe may be one bubble among infinite others. Extraordinary because out of endless possibilities, you're in a universe that can not only sustain life, but sustain you. So what does this mean for the Big Bang? It means it wasn't the start of all things. It was the start of our chapter. Beyond it lies a library of other chapters, other books, other shelves stacked infinitely high. And maybe one day, science will find indirect evidence pointing to their existence. Until then, you're left with the possibility that the all you know is just the smallest sliver of reality. But here's the twist I want you to hold on to. If the multiverse is real, then even the question, what came before the Big Bang, changes. Because maybe there wasn't a single before. Maybe there are countless beginnings, each one birthing its own time, its own space, its own story. The universe you live in may not be the answer. It may just be one clue in a cosmic puzzle too vast to solve. And that's both unsettling and beautiful, because it means that no matter how far you stretch your imagination, reality will always be bigger. In the next section, we'll dive into a theory even stranger than the multiverse, the idea that the universe may not have begun with a bang at all, but with a bounce. That before expansion, there was contraction, and that the cosmos might breathe in cycles, eternally collapsing and rebirthing itself. Are you ready to imagine a universe that never truly dies, but pulses like a heartbeat forever? You've always been told the universe began with a bang, a sudden eruption of everything from nothing once and for all. But what if that story is too simple? What if the universe didn't start once, but many times? What if instead of a one-way explosion, the cosmos breathes, expanding and collapsing over and over in an eternal cycle? This is the idea of the cosmic bounce. Instead of imagining the Big Bang as the ultimate beginning, you picture it as a transition, a turning point. Before the expansion you see today, the universe may have been contracting, shrinking, squeezing, collapsing inward. Then, at some critical moment, instead of ending, it bounced. Out of that collapse came the birth of our universe, the same way a ball hitting the ground springs back into the air. That's not just poetic, it's a serious theory in physics, and it offers you a radical twist. The Big Bang might not have been the first bang. It may not be the last. Think of it like breathing. The cosmos inhales, collapsing into density. The cosmos exhales, bursting outward into expansion. Each cycle could last trillions of years. And you, living in this moment, are simply part of one breath. But why consider such a strange idea? Because singularities, the infinitely dense points you're told existed at the beginning, are a problem. They're signs that our equations break down, like error messages flashing on the screen of the universe. Physicists don't like them. They're usually clues that something deeper is missing from our understanding. The bounce theory offers a way around them. Instead of a singularity where the universe starts, you have a bounce, where one phase flows smoothly into another. Here's the myth bust. The Big Bang may not have been the birth of time. It may have been a rebirth. Now imagine this. Before your universe, there was another one. Maybe it looked similar. Galaxies, stars, life. Maybe it was entirely different. Either way, it grew old, expanded, and then collapsed under its own gravity, shrinking smaller and smaller until it rebounded into the universe you now inhabit. That means everything you know is the child of a previous cosmos. And one day, this universe too might collapse and give birth to another. That thought can shake you because it suggests there was never a first beginning. The universe has always existed, not as one continuous stretch of time, but as an endless chain of cycles. Death leads to birth. Collapse leads to expansion. Always. Forever. Here's an emotional twist. If the universe bounces eternally, then every end is also a beginning. Nothing is ever lost, not completely. The stars that collapse give rise to new stars. Universes that collapse give rise to new universes. And in that endless rhythm, there is a strange kind of immortality. But there's another side to this. If the cycles are endless, then what about you? Does that mean another version of you might appear in a future bounce? Are you repeated like a pattern woven into the cosmic fabric? Or do the details change each time, creating something new? That's a mystery no one can answer, but it sparks the haunting possibility that existence itself is a recurring dream. Now let's look at the science. One of the drivers of the bounce idea is quantum mechanics. At extremely small scales, matter doesn't behave predictably. It resists being squeezed into a single point. Quantum effects could create pressure that prevents the universe from collapsing into nothing. Instead, the collapse halts and reverses, producing the bounce. Think of it like a trampoline. You fall, gravity pulls you down, but the springy fabric pushes back, throwing you upward again. The cosmic trampoline may be quantum physics itself, preventing the universe from ever truly ending. Of course, not everyone agrees. Some scientists argue there's no evidence for a previous universe. Others point out that even if the bounce is possible, detecting it would be nearly impossible. The traces of past cycles might be erased with each new expansion. It's like erasing a chalkboard before writing the next equation. You can't read the old lines anymore. But not all evidence would vanish. Some physicists suggest that faint signatures of previous universes could linger in the cosmic microwave background, the faint afterglow of the Big Bang. Patterns, anomalies, or unusual alignments in that radiation might hint that our universe has lived before. And researchers are still looking. Now, let's take a step back and feel the emotional weight. If the universe bounces eternally, then time itself has no start and no end. There was no first moment, no true origin. The question, what came before the Big Bang, would melt away because the answer would always be another universe. That changes how you see yourself. Because if the cosmos breathes in cycles, then your existence isn't just a one-off accident. It's part of a rhythm older than memory. You are not standing at the start of all things. You are standing in the middle of something infinite. And here's a shocking twist. Ancient cultures already imagined this. Hindu cosmology describes the universe as going through endless cycles of creation and destruction, like days and nights of a cosmic god. The Stoics of ancient Greece imagined the cosmos burning and being reborn in a cycle called ekpyrosis. Thousands of years ago, humans intuited what modern physics is only now exploring, the idea that creation never stops, it only transforms. So here's the engagement trigger for you. Which vision feels more comforting? A universe that had one beginning and will one day end forever, or a universe that cycles endlessly where death always gives way to rebirth? In the next section, we'll explore an even stranger possibility. Not just that universes repeat in cycles, but that our universe might actually be a simulation. That reality itself might not be fundamental at all, but the output of something or someone else's design. If that's true, then the question of what came before the Big Bang has an answer unlike anything you've considered: a programmer. You've been staring into the cosmos, chasing mysteries of time, nothingness, and cosmic rebirth. You've imagined endless universes, quantum seas, and bouncing realities. But now let's take a turn into territory stranger than all of that, a place where the Big Bang, and perhaps everything you know, might not be a natural phenomenon at all. Imagine this. Your universe is not fundamental. It's a simulation, a construct, a program running on something far beyond your comprehension. Every galaxy, every particle, every heartbeat you've ever experienced is part of a calculated reality. And what we call the Big Bang, perhaps it was the initialization sequence. The idea isn't just science fiction. Philosophers like Nick Bostrom have argued that, given the potential technological capability of advanced civilizations, it's possible that simulations of entire universes could exist. And if such simulations exist, then the chances that you are in one might be higher than the chances you are in base reality. Think about that for a moment. Everything you see, touch, and feel could be part of a grand computational experiment. That raises the ultimate before question. What existed before the Big Bang? Perhaps it wasn't space, time, or energy, but the hardware, the programmer, or the code that ran this universe into existence. It's almost too much to process. Your life, your universe, your history, everything might be contained within a structure that obeys rules you barely understand. And yet, just like in all the cosmic theories we've explored so far, this possibility carries both awe and terror. Here's the myth bust. When you hear the Big Bang created everything, it might not have created everything. Maybe it created only the simulation you perceive. Outside of it, there could be an entirely different reality. Rules unknown, dimensions unimaginable, a world where your universe is just one small construct. Now, imagine what that does to your sense of origin. The Big Bang may have been triggered intentionally, carefully, even purposefully. That before isn't a void, a vacuum, or a singularity. It's the environment of the creator, the system that set your universe in motion. Suddenly, physics isn't the only law at work. There's an architect. There's intent. But don't panic just yet. This doesn't necessarily make your life meaningless. On the contrary, it can make it more profound. Every choice, every experience, every consciousness is precious because it exists inside a structured, intricate design. Even if your universe is simulated, your moments of wonder, love, or discovery are real within the framework you inhabit. And here's where it gets even more unsettling. A simulation could contain multiple layers. Perhaps what you think of as reality is the output of a system that itself exists inside another simulation. That raises a mind-bending possibility. Maybe there is no base reality. Maybe the chain of before goes on infinitely, and the ultimate origin is forever beyond your reach. Here's an emotional trigger for you. In this view, the Big Bang isn't the birth of matter and energy. It's the activation of a system. Time and space, the very canvas of your existence, are artifacts of code. What existed before could be the processor, the algorithms, the architecture, all functioning in ways you can barely imagine. But here's the philosophical twist. If your universe is a simulation, does that change its reality? Does it make your experiences less meaningful? Or does it show you that reality is flexible and that existence itself, whether simulated or real, is a gift to be explored? Many thinkers argue that consciousness, awareness, and subjective experience retain their significance, even if the framework behind them is artificial. Now, the simulation hypothesis also solves some puzzles about the Big Bang. Why does the universe seem finely tuned for life? Why are the constants of physics balanced on a knife edge? In a simulated universe, these values don't have to be random. They can be deliberately calibrated. Your existence might not be a cosmic fluke, but a designed outcome. Think about that for a second. If this is true, you are not just a product of chance or physics. You are living in a universe carefully structured to allow for the emergence of consciousness, awareness, and even self-reflection. That makes your experience of reality astonishingly rare, precious, and extraordinary. And yet, like every radical theory we've explored so far, the simulation idea comes with questions that are impossible to answer. What is the real world outside the simulation? Who or what runs it? And crucially, why did the Big Bang in this scenario happen the way it did? The beauty of this hypothesis is that it blends science and philosophy seamlessly. It forces you to confront the limits of knowledge while still marveling at what you do know. Physics can describe the evolution of the universe from the first fractions of a second. Quantum mechanics can hint at the instability of nothingness. But the ultimate origin, what existed before the Big Bang, may forever remain hidden, encoded in layers beyond observation. Here's the engagement trigger. If your universe is a simulation, does it change the way you see yourself, your relationships, your choices? Some might find it terrifying, others might find it liberating, because it suggests that the story of existence is not random, it is crafted. And if it's crafted, maybe there's intention, maybe there's meaning, maybe there's purpose embedded in the very fabric of reality. And here's a shocking twist. Even if your universe is simulated, it may still be infinite in experience. You, here and now, are the living proof of complexity, of consciousness, of something beyond mere computation. Whether your Big Bang was spontaneous, cyclical, or programmed, your perception, your life, your wonder are real. So when you next ask, what existed before the Big Bang, consider this. Maybe the answer isn't matter or energy. Maybe it's intelligence. Maybe it's a system. Maybe it's a code. And maybe that is the most profound realization of all. In the next section, we'll explore a completely different approach. The idea that time itself is a loop, not a line, and that the universe could be eternal without needing a beginning, a multiverse, or a simulation. That might be the simplest yet strangest answer to the question you've been chasing. You've been thinking about beginnings, about what came before the Big Bang, about the birth of time and space. You've imagined endless universes, cosmic bounces, even simulations. But now let's twist your mind in a new way. What if time itself isn't linear? What if the universe doesn't move forward in a straight line from past to future, but loops, folds, and curves back onto itself? In this view, there is no absolute beginning and no absolute end. The Big Bang isn't the start. It's a point in a circle, a moment in a loop that stretches infinitely. The past and the future are part of the same structure, endlessly recurring. Think of it like this. Imagine a racetrack. You run along it lap after lap. There is a start line, but once you cross it, you keep running. The line is arbitrary. Your motion continues in a repeating pattern. Time, in a looping universe, works in a similar way. What you call before and after might just be coordinates along a circle, not a straight arrow. This concept isn't just philosophical musing. Some solutions in general relativity allow for closed time-like curves. They suggest that under certain conditions, time could bend back onto itself. In such a universe, the Big Bang might be both a beginning and an ending. Your universe could be eternal, not through linear persistence, but through repetition. Every event, every star, every galaxy could recur in cycles beyond comprehension. Here's the mind-bending implication. If time loops, then what you perceive as history might not be unique. It could have happened before and could happen again, infinitely. You, right now, may have existed in countless prior cycles, living moments that feel unprecedented, but are echoes of infinite repetition. Now here's the emotional twist. Imagine knowing this while standing beneath the night sky. Those stars aren't just light years away, they are points along a cosmic loop, part of a repeating story. Every supernova, every collision of galaxies, every heartbeat on Earth might play out again in ways subtle or profound. Your choices, your life, your joys and sorrows could be written in a script that recurs eternally. But don't panic. The loop doesn't necessarily mean determinism in the everyday sense. The loops could allow variation, much like music repeating a theme with different notes each time. The structure might be eternal, but within it, novelty still exists. Randomness, free will, and chance could all play roles within the cyclic framework. Here's a myth bust. Many people assume that if the universe loops, life repeats exactly as before, like a cosmic Groundhog Day. But physics allows for variations. Each cycle might unfold slightly differently. The Big Bang, from this perspective, is just one moment along a recurring timeline, one phase of a universe that continuously regenerates itself over and over in an eternal rhythm. Think about entropy. the tendency for systems to move toward disorder. In a linear universe, entropy climbs until heat death when everything reaches equilibrium. But in a looping universe, entropy might reset with each cycle. Disorder could collapse and new order could emerge again. The universe could avoid the finality of heat death, cycling eternally between chaos and structure. Here's where it becomes personal. If time loops, then your life is part of a rhythm far older and far larger than you. Death doesn't erase you. Your existence is part of a structure that repeats, echoes, and persists. You are, in a sense, immortal, not as the same individual, but as an iteration in an infinite recurring story. Some philosophers even suggest that loops in time could solve the question of what came before the Big Bang. In a looping cosmos, there is no before in the way you normally imagine it. The Big Bang is both a beginning and an outcome. It is not a singular event, but a recurring feature of a timeless cycle. Asking, what came before, becomes a question of perspective rather than absolute fact. Here's the engagement trigger. Imagine knowing that the universe is a loop. Would it change the way you live? Would it make you treasure every moment knowing that the patterns of life recur? Or would it feel overwhelming, a reminder that nothing is ever truly new? The answer, like the loop itself, is up to you. Now, think of this emotionally. The Big Bang has been framed as a violent, singular origin, a moment of chaos giving birth to order. But in a looping universe, it's part of a grander, gentler pattern. The cosmos has a rhythm, a pulse, expansion and contraction, creation and destruction, beginnings and endings. They're all harmonics in a timeless symphony, and you are a note in that music. This idea also resonates with ancient thought. Philosophers and spiritual thinkers have long imagined time as circular rather than linear. Hindu and Buddhist cosmology describe cycles of creation and dissolution, not unlike the loops physics now hints at. The Stoics imagined a recurring cosmos where events replay eternally. Thousands of years ago, humans intuited a concept that modern science is only now modeling mathematically. And here's the shocking twist. If time loops, then the universe may not have a final answer. There may be no ultimate beginning to discover, no absolute origin to find. What you perceive as the Big Bang is not the start. It is a waypoint, a recurring pulse along an infinite path. So when you next look up at the night sky, consider this. The stars above you are not just ancient. They are part of an eternal rhythm. Your own existence is not fleeting. It is part of a structure that persists, loops, and renews. The universe may have no true beginning, and yet every beginning matters. Every moment counts, and every heartbeat is part of an endless story. In the next section, we'll examine the role of quantum mechanics in all of this. We'll explore how uncertainty, superposition, and the strange laws of the subatomic world may allow the universe to emerge naturally, without a classical beginning, without a multiverse, without a programmer. We'll see how the smallest scales of reality might hold the key to answering the question you've been chasing all along. What existed before the Big Bang? You've traveled through loops of time, quantum uncertainty simulations, and multiverses. You've imagined cosmic bounces and the possibilities of repeated universes. But now let's venture even deeper. What if the Big Bang, the blazing, universe-defining moment, is not the ultimate beginning? What if it's just the surface, the shadow of something more profound, something hidden? Physicists and cosmologists sometimes speak of a pre-Big Bang universe, a reality that existed in ways we cannot directly observe. Not just an earlier time, because time as you know it may have begun with the Big Bang. Instead, a foundational state that gave rise to our cosmos, a meta-reality, a hidden layer underpinning everything. Imagine this. Our universe is like the surface of a pond. The Big Bang is the first ripple you can see, spreading outward in all directions. But below the surface, under the water, is a hidden current, a deeper structure shaping what happens above. That hidden reality may not obey the rules of space and time as you know them. It may be beyond matter, energy, and even causality, yet it produces the universe you see. Here's the myth bust. The Big Bang is often presented as the absolute beginning, the moment everything sprang into being. But modern physics hints that it could instead be a transition, a surface phenomenon emerging from a deeper foundation that already existed. In that sense, before isn't meaningless. It's simply hidden, beyond observation, beyond measurement, beyond your usual sense of reality. Some theories suggest that this hidden reality could be described by higher dimensional physics. Extra dimensions beyond the familiar three of space and one of time might host phenomena that shape our universe without ever being visible. In such a model, the Big Bang is just the interaction between our visible slice of reality and these deeper dimensions. The universe as you know it might be a shadow projected from something far more intricate. Here's the emotional twist. If this is true, then the universe is more wondrous than you can imagine. You live in a cosmos that is a surface expression of a deeper, hidden foundation. The stars, the galaxies, your own consciousness, they are emergent, fleeting patterns in an underlying reality you may never fully perceive. And yet, your awareness allows you to glimpse even a fraction of it. That makes your existence not just remarkable, it's a witness to the profound. Now let's consider the implications. If the Big Bang is a surface event, then perhaps multiple universes, bounces, and quantum possibilities all emerge from the same hidden layer. The multiverse might not be separate bubbles floating randomly. Instead, it could be a natural projection of the deeper meta-reality, each universe a pattern shaped by forces beyond your comprehension. Here's the engagement trigger. Think of the cosmos as a grand, multidimensional canvas. You see only a single layer, one brushstroke, one section of the painting. But the full picture is far more complex, stretching in directions you cannot perceive. The Big Bang is not the frame. It's a stroke on the canvas, beautiful, finite, but part of something infinite. Philosophically, this challenges everything you thought you knew about beginnings. If reality has a hidden foundation, the question of what existed before transforms from a puzzle of chronology into a question of structure. The Big Bang may not answer the ultimate origin, it may point toward it. Like footprints in sand leading to a cliff, it gives evidence of something beyond, without showing you the full expanse. Some modern approaches even link this idea to mathematics itself. There are proposals that the underlying foundation of reality could be purely abstract, a mathematical structure giving rise to physical existence. In this framework, our universe, and every possibility you've imagined, emerges from logic, symmetry, and structure, rather than from matter or energy as we understand them. The Big Bang is then not a creation from nothing, but an expression of a deeper mathematical truth. Here's the shocking twist. If the Big Bang is a surface event, the true before might not even be a place, a time, or a state. It might be entirely alien to your intuition, operating with rules you cannot imagine. And yet, from it emerges everything you know, your reality, your existence, your awareness. The origin of all things may be fundamentally beyond comprehension. Yet, there's a strangely comforting aspect to this. Even if you cannot fully grasp it, the fact that your universe arises from a hidden layer means it is coherent, structured, and beautiful. It is not chaotic nonsense. The Big Bang may be a fleeting flare, but it is part of a vast, intricate system. And your consciousness, your capacity to ask these questions, allows you to glimpse the hidden order behind the apparent randomness. Think about it emotionally. You are part of the universe, and yet you are also its witness. You are a product of the Big Bang, and simultaneously a participant in a deeper reality that underpins it. Your curiosity, your imagination, your capacity to reflect, they are threads connecting you to the meta-reality itself. So when you next look up at the night sky, consider this: the galaxies, the cosmic web, the faint afterglow of creation. These are not the full story. They are signs of something deeper. They are whispers from the hidden foundation that gave birth to time, space, and everything in between. The Big Bang may have marked the birth of this universe, but the ultimate reality, the bedrock of all existence, remains just out of reach, mysterious, and infinite. In the next section, we'll explore another radical idea: the universe as a self-generating system, arising from the laws of physics themselves without need for external cause or designer. We'll see how modern science might finally offer a framework where the universe exists necessarily, without a before, without a creator, and yet fully real. You've journeyed through loops of time, hidden realities, quantum uncertainty, and even the possibility of a simulated cosmos. Now let's explore an idea that might seem simpler, yet equally profound. What if the universe doesn't need a cause at all? What if it generates itself, existing necessarily, arising from its own laws without a beginning, without a before? The concept may sound counterintuitive. You've been trained to think in cause and effect, in beginnings and ends. But modern physics offers a framework where the universe can exist as a self-contained system, a system whose very existence is embedded in the laws of nature themselves. Consider the laws of quantum mechanics and general relativity. They describe how energy, matter, and space-time interact. Some theories suggest that these laws are sufficient to produce a universe spontaneously. If certain conditions exist, such as a quantum vacuum teeming with fluctuations, the universe doesn't need an external trigger. The laws themselves create the environment from which reality emerges. Here's the myth bust. You've been told the universe had to have a cause, a creator, or a first moment. But if the universe is self-generating, then cause, as you understand it, may not apply. The Big Bang is simply a natural consequence of underlying laws. It is not a moment of creation imposed from outside. It is the first observable manifestation of processes that exist necessarily. Imagine this emotionally. The cosmos is not fragile, dependent, or contingent. It is resilient, inevitable, and self-sustaining. The laws that govern reality are not arbitrary. They are sufficient. They give rise to matter, energy, stars, planets, life, and consciousness, all without need for intervention. You exist as part of a universe that has the power to exist fully on its own. Physicist Lawrence Krauss famously proposed that nothing can produce everything, provided the nothing has the properties of a quantum vacuum. In other words, the universe can emerge from a state that is physically empty, yet governed by laws that allow spontaneous creation. This aligns with what we've discussed in Quantum Beginnings, but with an even bolder assertion. The universe doesn't require an external explanation. Its existence is necessary, not contingent. Here's a shocking twist. If the universe is self-generating, then asking what existed before the Big Bang may be the wrong question. There may be no before in the classical sense. The Big Bang is not a beginning in time. It is simply the first moment you can measure, at the first observable expression of processes that have no origin because they are embedded in the structure of reality itself. Think about it personally. You often search for causes in your life, for reasons behind events, for explanations beyond your control. But the universe itself may be the ultimate example of self-sufficiency. It is a system that exists fully in its own right, and your existence is a natural part of it. You are not an afterthought. You are an emergent feature of a self-sustaining cosmos. Mathematically, some cosmologists use models where the universe's total energy is zero. Positive energy from matter is exactly balanced by negative energy from gravity. In such a model, the universe could appear from nothing, fully self-contained, conserving energy in a perfect balance. This is one way of understanding how reality can be inevitable, self-generating, and stable, even in the absence of a classical cause. Here's the engagement trigger. Think about your own life as a microcosm of this idea. You are shaped by forces, physical, chemical, biological, that don't require external design to operate. Yet within that complexity, consciousness and beauty emerge. The universe operates on the same principle. Simple laws, self-contained mechanisms, producing outcomes of extraordinary complexity. Now consider the philosophical implications. If the universe exists necessarily, it may have no beginning and no end. It may not require a multiverse, a bounce, or a programmer. The Big Bang is just one phase of a system that is inherently complete. The cosmos, in this view, is both simple and infinite, fully self-contained, yet endlessly fascinating. Emotionally, this is liberating. You no longer need to search for a cause outside of reality. The cosmos is sufficient. Your life, your consciousness, your experiences all arise naturally as a necessary expression of an inevitable universe. You are not contingent on miracles or outside intervention. You are living proof of a universe that exists fully in its own right. Here's the myth bust in another way. You've been told existence must be explained by something outside itself. But if reality can generate itself, the universe is its own explanation. It doesn't need a before, a cause, or a creator. The laws of physics, quantum processes, and self-consistency are enough. And here's the emotional twist. In this self-generating universe, meaning is not imposed from outside. It arises from your observation, your curiosity, your consciousness. You are the lens through which the universe experiences itself. The Big Bang may not have been the start of everything, but you are part of the ongoing story, participating in the unfolding of reality itself. So when you look up at the night sky, consider this. The stars, the galaxies, the cosmic web, they are not miracles needing explanation. They are the natural consequence of a universe that exists necessarily, arising spontaneously from the laws that govern it. You, as part of this system, are both a product and a witness of that magnificent inevitability. In the next section, we will explore the emotional and philosophical implications of all these ideas together. We'll confront the question of human significance in a universe without a classical beginning, without external causation, and without limits. How do you find meaning in a cosmos that may be infinite, self-generating, and eternal? You followed the universe through every possible origin story, multiverses, bounces, loops, simulations, quantum births, and self-generating systems. Each theory reshapes your sense of beginnings, and each one blurs the line between before and after. But beneath all these cosmic possibilities lies a deeper question. In such a vast, eternal, or self-sufficient universe, what do you mean? What is the significance of being human? The cosmos is vast. Billions of galaxies, trillions of stars, distances so large they dwarf your imagination, time spans that stretch not just billions, but trillions of years. Against that backdrop, your life, a few decades, a few fleeting moments, can feel impossibly small. You are a spark in a sea of eternity, a whisper against the roar of the infinite. And yet, here's the emotional twist. Your smallness is not insignificance. On the contrary, your consciousness is extraordinary. Out of the endless expanse of stars and particles, the universe has produced you, a being capable of reflection, of awareness, of wonder. You are not just in the universe. You are the universe. Become aware of itself. Think about that for a moment. The same forces that shaped galaxies also shaped your neurons. The same laws that drive the expansion of space also drive the beating of your heart. The same quantum uncertainties that may have birthed the cosmos also whisper in the firing of your thoughts. You are not separate from the cosmos, you are its expression. Here's the myth bust. Significance does not come from size, duration, or permanence. It comes from experience, from meaning, from awareness. A fleeting flower in the desert is no less beautiful because it wilts. A song is no less profound because it ends. Your life in its brevity is meaningful because it is lived, felt, and known. Now consider this. If the universe is eternal, self-generating, or endlessly cycling, then your existence is not an accident. It is a natural outcome of the cosmos's capacity for complexity. Life is not foreign to the universe. It is one of its expressions. Consciousness is not outside of physics. It is physics, arranged in a way that allows reflection. In that sense, you are woven into the very fabric of cosmic significance. Here's the engagement trigger. When you ask, what existed before the Big Bang, you are also asking, why am I here? These questions are not separate, they are intertwined. Because the answer to the origin of the cosmos inevitably shapes how you see yourself within it. And the remarkable truth is this: no matter which theory is right, loop, bounce, simulation, or self generation, you exist. You are here, alive, conscious, asking these questions. That is your significance. Emotionally, this reframes everything. If the universe is infinite, your role is not diminished, it is amplified. Because in all the eternity, in all the cycles, and all the possibilities, there is you, this specific awareness, in this specific moment, under these specific stars. Out of infinite potential, reality has chosen this, you alive now. That is extraordinary. Some philosophers argue that meaning cannot come from the cosmos itself, that it is you who must create it, and maybe that's the most profound truth of all. The universe may be vast, eternal, and indifferent, but through you it feels. Through you it questions. Through you it wonders. You are not insignificant. You are the voice of the cosmos, speaking back to itself. Here's the shocking twist. Every cosmic theory you've encountered, no matter how grand, abstract, or alien, leads back to you. Whether the universe is a simulation, a loop, a quantum fluctuation, or a self-generating system, your existence is undeniable. You are the fact within the theory. You are the certainty within uncertainty. You are proof that the universe produces awareness. Now, let's bring this to a personal level. When you stand beneath the night sky, you might feel small, overwhelmed, even insignificant. But imagine this instead. Every star above you is kin. Every galaxy is family. You are made of the same atoms, forged in the same furnaces, shaped by the same laws. The universe is not something outside you. It is you in a different form. So what is your significance in an eternal cosmos? It is this: to live, to feel, to wonder, to make meaning not in spite of vastness, but because of it. To know that even if the universe loops forever, even if countless universes rise and fall, this moment you are living is unrepeatable. It is yours. It matters. And here's the emotional closure of this section. Perhaps the ultimate lesson of asking what existed before the Big Bang is not just about physics. It is about perspective, about learning to see your life, however brief, as part of something infinite, about recognizing that your questions, your curiosity, your awe are not trivial. They are cosmic. They are the universe becoming aware of its own mystery. So when you next look at the stars, don't think of yourself as small. Think of yourself as vast. Think of yourself as the cosmos in human form, reflecting, feeling, and searching. Because no matter what the answer to the Big Bang may be, your existence is already the most astonishing fact of all. In the final section, we'll bring everything together. We'll confront the mystery directly, weaving science, philosophy, and wonder into one last reflection. We'll ask, once more, what existed before the Big Bang, and discover that sometimes the most profound answer lies not in certainty, but in the beauty of the question itself.